What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss.
The moment Anton Chigurh asks that question, you realize something terrifying. This isn't just a game for him. There's no emotion in his voice, no pleasure, no rage. Just an executioner flipping a coin, letting something as meaningless as heads or tails decide life and death. And in that moment, we're forced to ask ourselves how much of life is really in our control. No Country for Old Men is more than just a neo Western thriller. It's a film about fate, about justice, and about the slow death of a world that made sense. It strips away the myths we tell ourselves about heroes, about justice, about the way things are supposed to work, and leaves us with something far more unsettling.
Look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything. Call it.
Llewellyn Moss makes a choice. He could have walked away from that drug deal gone wrong, but he takes the money, and from that moment, the rest of his life is just him running from the consequences. Chigurh, on the other hand, operates like a force of nature. He acts like fate itself, flipping coins, making it seem like luck decides everything. But here's the trick. He's the one flipping the coin. He's the one choosing when to ask the question. So was it ever really about chance? Or is it just a way to make people feel powerless? Sheriff Bell is a man who believes in law and order, but in No Country for Old Men, the law doesn't mean anything. There is no final standoff where the sheriff saves the day, no moment where good triumphs over evil, because sometimes evil just wins. By the end of the film, Chigurh isn't punished, he just walks away. Moss is gone, Carla Jean is gone. Bell is left standing, but it feels like he's lost too. We like to think the world operates on some kind of moral balance, that justice always finds a way. This movie forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth. What if it doesn't? Bell is the only character who never enters the fight. He's always just a step behind, watching from the outside. And in the end, he's the one left to reflect on everything. His final monologue is haunting. A dream about his father riding ahead in the dark, carrying fire. And then he wakes up. It's a moment of realization that fire, justice, order, the way things used to be, is gone. Or maybe it was never really there to begin with. This isn't just Bell's story. It's the story of every generation that watches the world change and feels powerless to stop it. Westerns used to be about men imposing order on chaos, about gunslingers who stood for something, who fought for justice, who made the world right. No Country for Old Men takes that myth and turns it into dust. There is no final duel, no moment where the cowboy saves the day. Moss doesn't ride off into the sunset, he dies in a motel, off screen, in the least cinematic way possible. The cowboy is dead, and the chaos is winning. This isn't just about Moss. It's about the death of an entire era. Most movies show violence as something thrilling, something that builds to a cathartic climax. Here it just happens. Moss's death isn't a big showdown, it's an afterthought. Carla Jane's fate, we don't even see it. Chigurh, he walks away, injured but alive. The film doesn't give us the relief we expect, because real violence isn't satisfying. It's sudden, brutal, and often it doesn't have meaning.
I knew this wasn't done with. I ain't got the money. What little I had is long gone, and there's bills aplenty to pay yet. I buried my mother today. Ain't paid for that neither.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I need to sit down. You got no cause to hurt me.
No.
Chigurh presents himself as a man who follows rules, who operates by a strict code. But this code is nothing more than an excuse to justify his actions. If he really believed in fate, why does he hesitate? Why does he still choose? Because deep down, he's not fate, he's just a man playing God.
Like that. Not like you say. You don't have to do this.
People always say the same thing.
What do they say?
They say, you don't have to do this.
You don't.
Okay. This is the best I can do. Call it.
I know you was crazy when I saw you sitting there. I knowed exactly what was in store for me.
Call it.
No. I ain't gonna call it.
Call it.
The Coen don't have no say. It's just you.
Well, I got here the same way the Coen did.
Chigurh isn't just a killer, he's something else. He doesn't get angry, he doesn't panic. He moves through the film like death itself, methodical and unstoppable. And that's what makes him terrifying. In most westerns, you can shoot the bad guy and ride into the sunset. But how do you kill something that doesn't even feel human? Most movies end with resolution. No Country for Old Men just stops. Chigurh gets into a car crash, he stumbles away, disappearing into the streets. The world moves on. And then Sheriff Bell sits down and tells us about his dream. And then he wakes up. That's it. It's an ending that lingers, not because it wraps things up neatly, but because it refuses to. Because life doesn't always give you a satisfying conclusion. Sometimes the fire just goes out.
Call it.
We want movies to make sense. We want heroes to win, villains to lose, and meaning to come from suffering. But No Country for Old Men gives us none of that. It leaves us with a sheriff who's lost, a killer who keeps moving, and a coin slip that doesn't really mean anything. Because maybe that's how life is. Random, unfair, unresolved. And maybe that's what makes this film unforgettable. Thank you so much for watching.